Who needs it? Who needs it?
Good
Well,
PvP.
apparently after 13 years, we still need to introduce the players. So
In the top left-hand side, our Blue Protoss player, this Team Liquid's MaNa. You know, whoever got into this whole introducing players thing has no idea what they set in motion, did they?
I know, right? Like, amazing. In the bottom right, it is Hellraiser. You know what's so amazing about it, too? So two things while I watch this beginning PvP, both of them two-gating, is that, one, the map clock numbers, there's no better way to put that, existed for a much longer time than I remember in StarCraft 2, where it says, like, T1, Z5 or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock position.
Yeah. And no one had a clue what it meant as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So it was used a lot in Brood War, but obviously the foreign market came in and they were like, what the hell does this mean? And then they got rid of it, but it was a lot longer than I remembered. And then they kind of brought it back for Pro League and people were again confused. But there's that. And then the second thing is when you listen to the Korean commentators introduce, it's almost never like the hype, because I appreciate when it's like a live crowd and it's super energetic and we get to like build it up and we get to hear like the people stomp with their feet. Like, that's cool. But so often, like, it's literally just like, and this and this. Okay, let's talk. But for some reason we made this like a super important like factor that the observer has to zoom in on, and we can't talk over it because then the observer gets upset and then the admins are in your ear being like, introduce.
We've got cameramen on standby. Hello. The cameramen cannot stay on standby for this long. They need to know when to rotate the camera epically.
Yes, yeah. You guys don't even know how like much we got this ingrained into our production. All right, it's crazy.
I mean, it's even like, it's like written into the run of show, which is really like not something that's ever happens when you're in game. It's like, oh, and in the first 10 seconds of the game, we introduce player 1. And then we do player 2. It's like, whoa, it's that ingrained. Like, it's not just like, oh yeah, the casters do it. It's like, it is set up to happen. It is kind of ridiculous.
It is, because it's not even from, you know, the good old days of Brood War. The Korean cast are just like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, move on.
So
Anyways,
how did this happen?
I don't know.
I'm
Someone
going
has
back
to be
in time.
blamed.
I'm going back to the earliest VODs, and we are going to find out who to blame for these constant introductions.
I love it. Wardy's going to go Terminator style on whoever started it. Bring a cut back in time.
Turns out they're long gone from StarCraft. It's just like, oh. Well,
whoops.
No, never mind then.
Yeah. What has happened in this PvP? Surprisingly little, considering that these two are often very aggressive.
Yeah, very little. Just both players setting up and taking an expansion. Most notably, more and more Adepts coming out from MaNa. So he's going to Adepts 3 and 4 now as his 5th and 6th gateway units. There was the Sentry from Hellraiser, which provides a lot of the scouting for him. So that allows him to go across the map and say, oh, okay, you know, in your base, I see what's going on. The fact of the matter is, there's a whole lot of nothing going on in MaNa's base, so there's not much to scout, really. He has 450 gas because he's not been building anything but Adepts, and, well, now he proxy up a pylon, and we'll see what the heck comes out of this. Gotta be something gas-focused, right? Twilight Council at home? Okay, I've got no idea what's going on, CG. Here we go, PvP!
I also am unsure. I don't expect MaNa will spend that gas particularly quickly. Hellraiser is about to at least get an Immortal and Observer first, whatever he thinks is necessary. Now, that is the issue. Hellraiser is only guessing at what is necessary. He doesn't know about the proxy pylon. He doesn't know about the whole production of the gateways. He just saw a basic-looking setup that's actually a little... It's purposefully deceiving. Here is an actual attack, but fortunately, Hellraiser does have a shield battery. He wasn't too greedy about this, and I think he's fine with the shield battery, right?
Yeah,
oh, yeah, totally.
I feel like this should just be MaNa running away with the Stalkers and chasing probes with the Adepts, which is exactly what he does. Not a bad trade. You know, get 3 workers, you kill a sentry. It's not bad. Some battery energy drain, that's super important. And MaNa just backs away with the Stalker count and gets into Blink. And obviously, we talked about this in an earlier PvP. Blink is kind of the king of PvP, so if you got to favor one player over the other, we kind of like the player playing Blink versus the player with a couple of Immortals on the way.
I do. I definitely do. Well, that was a bit of an awkward moment. The pylon will be cleared up, but it really didn't impact the overall PvP. Equal worker counts, different branches of PvP, 1 player Immortal, 1 player Blink. I mean, I am concerned about the Blink player for the time that they do not have Blink. If Hellraiser wanted to move across the map, running out a War Prism, but not doing so, just grabbing a third base while he can, which is still good news, because this also has to do with feeling better for the non-Blink player, as long as the Blink player doesn't have Blink. I mean, that just makes sense, right? And so in this case, Hellraiser can freely grab a third. No fear of Blink Stalkers sniping important structures or killing it while it's still being built early. And now it's MaNa who's falling behind. Now it's MaNa who's being way too contained, despite having the more mobile technology.
Yeah, just sitting back, you know, waiting around a little bit, getting ready to put his third. But yeah, like what Hellraiser's doing. Hellraiser play we don't see that much of nowadays either, so never quite know what to expect from him. And he's going to come through and just take himself into a good little spot, gets his own Blink on the way. We'll see if MaNa can maybe do anything with his own Blink Stalkers, which are about to be ready to go. But yeah, he's showing no indication of wanting to move out at all. He is just sat at home waiting.
He has no scouting on his opponent, so that kind of makes sense. He never got anything across the map into the main base. He didn't see the Immortal that wasn't there to help defend, so he just saw basic gateway units on the front lines. So unfortunately, he has to play conservatively. And even as he does get Blink and maybe should be out in the map, it wouldn't really do a whole lot. Hellraiser is settled on his third base. The shield battery's there, the Immortals are there, and Hallucination's even there. And as far as a bit blindly running through the mid portion of this PvP game, Hellraiser is getting the benefit from it. So let's see if he can keep it. I think he can. MaNa is getting a War Prism, but it must only be for Adept harassment, right?
Yeah, I would imagine so. He's had a couple of Adepts poised on this right side for a while, waiting to bring those in as we do ping the first Immortal there. There is one Hallucinate Immortal, which we like because it can just maybe confuse a player. As we do have the Adepts going in, though, and they will, well, they get a little bit desynced now. We'll see if they can still pick up some probes. Looks like we're going to fix that, and we are going to continue to take some down. This is nice damage. 5 workers already, and MaNa getting some really good damage dealt, bringing this worker count of Hellraiser right back down. 7 workers killed. Good little move, and then just falling back with the Stalkers. He does now build an Immortal of his own. And where is that Prism at? Just around the south side, ready to hit the main for, yeah, probably some Adept for us.
Worked out already. Gonna work out again, potentially. That was something that MaNa needed to do. So even after that many probe kills, MaNa still ends up being behind by 3. Just because of that moment where he was also scared of what his opponent was doing. So he didn't grab that fast for third base. So he's still kind of making up for that. Got the Adepts going to the main base as the army moves out. It's rather perfectly timed. MaNa knows it too, so he's bound to get 3 or 4 probes.
Yeah, if anything, maybe even force a recall, and it's just going to be a warp in. That means, the problem with the recall or warp in, either way, it's going to take a little while, so 3 workers, going to get, should get to 4. Could have had 4 easily, just mistargeted a little bit, but we actually have the army of Hellraiser out on the map, pushing forward, has the +1 upgrade lead as well, so that's something that is also in Hellraiser's favor here. And with the 3 Immortals, his army has to be respected a pretty decent amount. Obviously has his own Blink and even going to be the faster player to charge. Hellraiser just has a lot of leads. Although MaNa currently has the current worker advantage, Hellraiser had it earlier and is absolutely putting that to good use.
Exactly. It's already been invested into some army advantages, and he's going to try and use those advantages to win. Excellent force fields, grabbing that Immortal there from MaNa, and then deterring the rest of the battle. Misrallied Stalkers coming in, and Hellraiser, he did have a nice setup, but completely fumbled the ball. I don't think it was a guaranteed touchdown, to be clear. MaNa was really well set up, but that was just no contest. Like, yeah, run back home with your tail between your legs.
Yeah, that was fumble, interception, whatever you want to call it. Use all the football terms, why not? It's going to be an army of Hellraiser going to rotate back to the top side. And, I mean, this at least is going to catch MaNa off. MaNa lost an observer just before this army came across the map, so he doesn't have the tracking he would like to have. And this Nexus will be cancelled. That is one advantage Hellraiser will get. He'll get a cancel in this base. He'll be ahead on the 4th. And he has his Prism here as well. Just gets an extra warp in. Although it doesn't really need too much extra. He's already gotten the cancel. And MaNa is going to move down this round to potentially contest this position. Got to be careful. I mean, a couple good force fields can really dictate this on either side right now. That's the kind of armies that we're playing with.
Yeah. So much as I joked about it's having to send Hellraiser all the way back, you really could continue to posture. He's got that upgrade lead. He might even have 2 upgrade leads for like 10 seconds. Let's see if he can take advantage of that. And he is still able to take advantage of some of the chokes, right? And get, you know, a quick cancel on a 4th base. MaNa's going to have trouble defending that. So Hellraiser still controlling the scenario, just didn't get to really pull the trigger as much as he was hoping on the 3-base setup. Now we move on to 4 bases versus 4, as MaNa grabs the left side instead of the right. And with this type of setup, I would find, again, it to be a PvP where one person inevitably goes into disruptors. So far, neither playing doing so. In fact, MaNa going for double forge upgrades, which lead me to believe that he is going to try and play out the mass gateway style, but already having difficulty handling the warp prism, and then also having some difficulty handling the right side. Maybe not. That warp prism grab was not as important as you would expect, since MaNa's playing defensively as well.
I'll start your recall up into the main base to try and deal with this. The Zealots all over the place. There's a couple of Immortals still actually chunking away on Stalkers. Everything that MaNa's doing is just not quite going right for him. He gets a few Zealots now onto these Immortals over on this right-hand side, so begins to work his way through those, but even those are not going down easily. And still the Zealots of Hellraiser putting in some work, still pushing it on the right side as well, and Hellraiser might just have completely overrun MaNa in this game number 1. He's been kind of solid throughout, and this is a very good showing from our Protoss player who I wasn't really expecting to look this good in the game. And yeah, that was very, very good from him. Just solid stuff. Congrats, Hellraiser. Well-deserved 1-0 lead. Played a very good game of PvP right there.
MaNa was playing an equally good game. He defended the first attack flawlessly, you know, so casually. It was really quite good. But then as soon as the next attack happened, it just broke everywhere. The main base being hit by the Immortals and the Warping is especially difficult to handle. Nothing really convincingly takes care of that. And then the right side, he did get kind of tucked into his own Sim City, and there was an abuse of that 2 upgrade lead for about 10 seconds because Hellraiser was so active. He was actually able to take advantage of that. So that was going to drastically impact those non-AoE battles. So really nicely done by Hellraiser, just to keep posturing, keep on the map, right? Not be deterred and not find it easier to go into a more passive style of Protoss. He just kept on looking for opportunities.
Loved it. Just really cool stuff. Really good PvP to start us off with. We'll see if MaNa can bounce back, because I favor MaNa going into this, right? I mean, I see MaNa playing all sorts of stuff every day. I don't see Hellraiser, right? Like, he doesn't play a lot. And obviously he's bringing it out here in the ESL Masters, but yeah, I mean, a shock for me. If Hellraiser wins this, I'm definitely surprised, so we'll see what happens. I'm just, you know, I can believe it now because the first game was just solid. It wasn't something cheesy. It wasn't, I'm going to catch you off guard or anything like that. No, it was just very solid gameplay. Just a really good start.
Of course, Hellraiser did make it into the regionals by defeating Protoss players. Not too surprising. The way it goes in
Isn't that how everyone makes it into the regionals? I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. You either are the better Protoss or you're the worst Protoss. Like,
yeah. No, you're right. But yeah, so that's like kind of the information we have is from his regional qualifier. Otherwise, while he has been playing in some, I guess, less well-known tournaments, they've been, I guess, also less well-known players and not Protoss. So yeah, you're right. We don't have a lot to go off of, except that about a year ago, he was favored against MaNa. But that was a long time in StarCraft too. Oh, yeah. Now he's coming into the regionals and is now up 1-0. I don't know if we're on top of him, but I'm going to guess we are. In the top left, it is Hellraiser.
Good guess, CG.
Thanks.
Do you want a trick? We always spawn in the same place as each other, so you can just go where you spawn. At least I think we
doesn't
do.
It feel that way when...
That's lag. Referee!
Okay. I'm still not getting the O2, man. I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. Well, only the referee can unpause, but the referee is lagging, so we'll give that a moment to be figured out. Are you going to say why doesn't it feel that way when we do other events?
Yeah, with production.
Because they clearly have a certain player they have to introduce first, right? Because it's like, we're going to camera 1 first, you know, so then the observer goes to that man, and yeah. In this streamlined production, though, ZG, you can just introduce the player you start the game on.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just, you know, I've been so scared. You know? I've had bad starts, man.
It's not your fault. It's okay.
I've been yelled at about it before.
I didn't mean to shame you. I think you know what you're doing.
It is amazing. You know that feeling in your... Wait, have you introduced MaNa yet?
I just did, silently.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure the block threw me off. Also, a block on MaNa's attempted natural expansion, but I'll see what MaNa does about this. How is it going? It's typical 2-gate opener. But I was going to say, you know that feeling that when you did something wrong, especially as a kid, like that gut feeling?
Yeah.
It feels terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have you had that in the last decade of your life?
I don't know. On the top of my head, I actually really don't know.
Right. So, well, this is kind of like my point. Oh, very interesting concept here from MaNa, but I'm going to finish up my story, which is that there's only one time I think I remember feeling it in my adult life, which was WCS Challenger. We played the game of chicken, caster chicken,
yeah,
and I got yelled at.
You got yelled at. That's
I got
the thing,
legitimately
right?
yelled at.
Like, nobody yells at you nowadays, right? Like,
oh, absolutely not. I mean, that was surprising to begin with, right? Like, they mostly let us do what we want, for the most part.
but not
The caster chicken.
Yeah.
I got taken out in the hallway already. It was exactly like being in school.
Did you get casted attention as well? You have to stay late and cast the PVT or the TVT.
No, I did not. I didn't, unfortunately. But oof, that was bad times. Anyway, so I was saying that MaNa's doing something interesting, right? But it is being scouted. The real problem is if Hellraiser says, "Oh, I think you." I think I know what you're going to do, and then leaves with the probe. That has caused complications against what MaNa's doing, which is a 2-gate opener, but on the low ground. But since Hellraiser sees this and is still here, he should be fine to react to it.
Yeah.
So MaNa doesn't really get anything unique out of this situation.
Oh, it's very standard, right? Just going to drop that Stargate down on both sides, and it's going to just be pretty much mirrored. I mean, you just have a low ground wall, which is fine, I guess. It's not the end of the world. It's got a ramp on this base as well, so you're kind of fine. And they're both just going to mirror each other, so they really should both just be fine to see the next phase of this game. One adept, though, going to sneak in. We'll try to. And the battery is... Yep, that's late. Unless you want to lock the adept in here with your probes.
That was a slowpoke meme I've ever seen one. Hey, guys, I should have done a shield battery.
This is,
you know, that... I do wonder if MaNa felt some lag or something. That's actually very unfortunate, then.
Yeah. Essentially, as a referee is being
Wait,
told...
what happens now? I've never
No,
had this happen.
anyone can resume from here. You're good.
Oh, okay, good.
I know
Okay.
it
I've
is
never seen
scary
red
though that it
before.
says all referees have disconnected. You know.
Oh my god.
All right, back into
Okay.
it. The adeptize moments after, and a little probe pull. We do get the probe on the low ground as well, and we have successfully. I mean, now we can do what we want, ZG. Now there's no one to yell at us. The referees are gone.
Oh my god. We can do whatever we want.
Break all the rules.
We could talk. We could do caster chicken.
Halfway through the game, we just stopped talking.
Yeah, no one's watching that would yell at us for that, right?
No, of course not.
No.
Phoenix, obviously coming out in numbers here from Hellraiser, by the way. So he was aware, right, that this is Stargate on Stargate. So he's like, oh, okay, Stargate vs. Stargate, I'll open Phoenix. You know, in the past, I would have been like, I love it. Phoenix is going to shut down this Oracle. But nowadays, I'm like, man, I don't like the Oracle. It's just going to dive in, kill a few probes, and that's generally enough to put you in a decent spot. MaNa's already up 4 workers, and then you've got, what, 2 or 3 Phoenix that don't do much? I don't mind this at all for MaNa. As I guess the battery in the main base means there shouldn't be too much damage to be done here with this Oracle. And, yeah, maybe he isn't super great, but he's already ahead on workers, so, yeah, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Still.
I know what you mean. I know what you're talking about, though. I feel like it was one of the rare situations where casters and players were kind of figuring out at the same time, where we were like, well, isn't the Oracle going to be able to circumvent that one Phoenix? And then, you know, it happened. So then eventually players were saying, yeah, the Oracle is kind of better. But that is, I think, specifically for the Stargate v Stargate, we don't know what we're producing scenario, right? Where this was very clearly, I think, MaNa going into Oracle, Hellraiser going into Phoenix, and not particularly quick either. So the shield battery was already down. So just a straight up victory for Hellraiser.
Yep, straight up. Catches up on probes right now as well, as he gets the Robo facilities his next step. So going to play a bit of Phoenix Robo, and going up against a Blink opener again. So once again, MaNa going to set up with the Blink, Hellraiser with a Robo, and have a lot of similarities to that game number 1.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about Hellraiser's victory. We really didn't know what to expect from him coming into this season, where, as you were saying, a lot of other, especially European pros, we cast all the time for the Open Cup. But Hellraiser apparently picking up where he left off against MaNa, which was a 2-series streak, maybe turning into a 3-series.
Yeah.
But MaNa is, he's wily, you know, and he does tend to, I feel like, get stronger the more desperate he gets. So maybe this proxy has something to say about this game.
Yeah, he's just going to drop that gateway down and just get himself into an aggressive setup. And I don't know if you really break. I mean, I guess you've got Blink and everything, but like against the Immortal defensively, you've got a battery on the natural, battery in the main. I'm not convinced. I've got to see it to believe it, I suppose. as the defense of Hellraiser has generally been pretty good, and his setup suggests that he's, again, very capable of holding at the very least, so let's see how it goes down. Just gonna have a Phoenix into the main. Obviously right now, the Phoenix across the map can still lift up some Stalkers and help kind of nullify some of the numbers. So this is nice doing all this damage, but then you have less to really help on this side. Let's see what the Stalkers do. Blink straight onto this Immortal Super Battery, but we've got too many Stalkers for Super Battery to matter. And this might just be a sad end for Hellraiser, who does not have enough at all.
No, he does not. No, he does not. I think he was starting to get a little sus as to, you know, why aren't my Phoenixes being dealt with, but yeah. Not sus enough, because I'm not even sure what he does, even if he is suspicious. Does he pull his probes preemptively?
Yeah.
Like wall it off? I don't know. There's not much.
You just need the Phoenix at home, lift as many Stalkers, and hope that that means the Immortal doesn't get shot down before the battery heals it right. Would be my guess.
True. He could have recalled those Phoenix or sent them back home faster.
Yeah, I think you've just got to do something based around that. I don't think there's really anything else to say. So, I've got to update the referee on the score. So we're just giving them the updates. They know there is in fact going to be a game 3. Turns out losing the referee mid-game is actually problematic. We needed them. Oh, we've got a different referee. We've swapped out E for A.
Wow. Is he any better? I mean, he's A. He must be better.
I mean, he's the top dog referee. We've got the top referee in here. We just skipped up like 3 referees. B, C, D.
Oh.
Weren't even contacted. Referee
Dude,
A is
that went
just
up
here.
the chain, man.
Yeah.
Chain of command. Shoot.
Yeah, we just zip-zapped up there. Amazing. All right, well, be a moment or two, I think, as we just try and figure out game number 3. Are we in trouble? Because
I don't
the
know.
main referee's here.
Yeah, right?
It wasn't our fault.
Somehow we're at fault. We should have yelled back at the players. No, you get out.
We should have stood up for the referee, right? Players out. All right, well, even wilder. Referee E has hosted the game, and referee A is joining the game. My goodness, this is scenes like we've never seen before, ZG.
No. I was actually afraid that I broke StarCraft because I changed my portrait.
You changed your portrait?
I did, yes. Because when it brings you to the collection scene, it tends to break StarCraft. It makes it reload. And I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, which is very true.
I didn't want to be the woman. I didn't want to be the only person with a woman portrait. I just felt like that was a little on the nose, you know?
Well, that was Roddy that said that portrait, so it was not that initial. At least I'm pretty sure it was Roddy, because he was the only person on the account before you, so... Yeah. Yeah,
the default's definitely the guy.
Yeah.
Wow, he purposely changed it to the chick.
2 days ago. He did it 2 days ago to get ahead of UCG. Yeah.
I'm just kidding, Roddy.
All right, we are ready for game 3. It's Altitude. Well, big map, ZG. Obviously, potential for a longer game, but with the way PvP works, it's not necessarily guaranteed.
Oh, and they really haven't been playing very long games here. I think they are the type of players who we could see being very, combative, but then eventually just having to admit, hey, we're going to get to 3 bases. Hey, we're going to get to 4 bases. But so far, they have been ending games around the second. So it is as action-packed. Well, not as action-packed. It is as snappy, I suppose, as PvP can be. And now referee E is going to fail out of the game again. Okay, now we're good.
I was going to say, that was a long loading screen. We're held in suspense. Not long enough to skip the countdown, which sometimes happens. As in the top right-hand corner, our red Protoss player, it is Hellraiser.
And in the bottom left, for Team Liquid, he is the blue Protoss, MaNa. I'm very suspicious of referee now. That was a long loading screen.
It was like definitely lagged out on the loading screen as well, right? There's no way.
Yeah. I don't mean to point fingers, but the guy's got a patata computer.
That's Twitch as well. Like, what does the referee do? What do you think they do? They referee the game, make sure everyone's playing fair. They unpause if it gets paused.
Isn't that primarily what they do?
That's primarily what they do when it's online, right? Like. And they are the link, because obviously the players shouldn't be like tapping out a Discord or something to talk to anyone, so they can talk to the players in the game as well if necessary. So
True. They can actually speak in game. The rest of us are locked behind the observers only chat.
And then they get the next game posted because they know the result of the game and all of that stuff before stream delay kicks in. So
True. True. That is true. I used to have to be the referee for all the lobbies, man. I used to make so many lobbies, and I haven't made a lobby. I've been sitting here with like my pinky out, drinking like my cup of tea. I haven't made lobbies in like 6 years.
You haven't made a lobby in 6 years? Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure. Dude, someone asked me, like, an open cup I was casting the round of 32, and I don't remember who it was, but someone was like, do you want to make the lobby? And I was like, God, no. I do not remember. What do we do? How does this work?
I don't know what buttons to press. I don't know what mods to host. I don't know when to start the game. Yeah, no.
Seriously, I've not been updated on the mod to hosts in 6 years. I kind of know what it is, but not really.
You know, it actually, we do have a pile on top left, but nothing coming off of it. When we did the Cast of Civil War, I got Helen help me admin like 1 or 2 of the days, and I was like, it's really easy. Like, you just host the lobby and all of this, and I was like, you know, I can teach you real quick. Turns out it's actually much more difficult to host a lobby in StarCraft than I thought. You know, like, you just go to the page, you pick the map, there you go. It's just like, that does not make any sense. I was like, oh, hang on then. I guess I'll have to go back to basics here. It's like, man, hosting a lobby ain't as easy as it seems for us that have been doing it for 10 years, I guess.
Yeah, well, you must have. I feel like with your degree, you must have done that like workshop or I don't know what we want to call it, but they do it with kids, and they also do it just when you start learning really detailed, complex concepts and instructions. Is that they have you write the instructions, right? So the common example is make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So you get the kid to write down the instructions, and then the parent like tries to do it according to the instructions, but they skip a bunch of steps because they figure that you will know what to do. You take out the bread. They say get a piece of bread, and then they just like put the loaf of bread like on the counter, and they're like, no, 1 piece, no 2 pieces. Anyways, that's what that reminds me of. Is poor Helen.
Yeah. Well, she did a great job in the end. Just like I say, just had to adjust my training, you know.
What happens in this game here? MaNa did go for the low ground 2 gates, and Hellraiser high ground 2 gates.
Yeah, and then Hellraiser killed a sentry with an adept. That is what we have witnessed.
That is pretty important.
Yeah. That's everything that happened. There's a hallucinated oracle, and we have a real oracle on the way now. And there's a phoenix out from MaNa. He's going to go Twilight behind it. I mean, more blink, more setting up. Yeah, you guys really didn't miss much during our story time. This PvP is really in build-up mode.
Pretty much. We are on altitude, which does discourage some of the earlier, walk across the map scenarios. But if you wanted to proxy, of course you could. No one wanted to. So the Stargate is very much real for both players, even though MaNa hallucinated an oracle. The Hellraiser, seeing that was hallucination. Wait, did he see the Phoenix yet? No, this is the first time he's seen that it was a legit Stargate unit. Okay.
That's a nice star as well, because the Stalker got a ping on it. Stalkers will get a couple more shots, not enough to get the kill, but he forced a recall, and at the very least then 2 oracles are a bit disjointed again. Obviously 2 oracles are scary because they laser down pros very quickly. Oh, the pylon top left, and MaNa sees this oracle. Now he knows there's 2 as well, so he can play a bit more around the fact that there's 2 oracles instead of just assuming it was 1 and done. So it's actually quite nice to see, and you can see the Phoenix even going up there to try and see if it can catch the oracle somewhere.
A little dangerous, and considering that is your only Phoenix, and the oracles could go around again, but in fact the oracle just revealed itself yet again to an adept. It got into Hellraiser's main base, which also means he got some nice scouting. Since MaNa doesn't really have a super clear option of scouting, I guess he could run his Phoenix across the bases if he thought it would be worth it. But both of them are going into Blink. MaNa's a little bit faster. Stargate's not doing a whole lot to change the game up as of yet, but MaNa's going to try and sneak an Oracle in, basically. This is 150 out of your pocket. That's a lot. And the Oracle is, even if it killed 5 probes, it's later on in the game, so it's not as effective. So it's definitely a bit of a gamble if he wants to use it offensively. I don't know if he thinks he needs it just to make sure he doesn't die to DTs, because I suppose that is also a concern, seeing as there's only Twilight Council is revealed.
Yeah, absolutely could be, as we have. Other than that, just the 3rd base dropping down. Hellraiser going to take that out in the front. It's pretty much the base you want to take here as well, because if I take this base and you defend that base, you stop the blink ups into the main as well. So against Blink Stalkers, that's the base you generally want. MaNa will be doing the same. Just means overall less space to defend.
Hellraiser a little supply blocked. Whoops, daisy. But not to the point that it really impacts the game.
Yeah, and he's just going to start moving across the map as well, just put some pressure on, but there's not currently a way to reinforce across the map, so you can't imagine this will do too much unless MaNa's just out of position. Like, if MaNa was moving up the right side like this, well, that's a perfect way to get cancel on the third base, but maybe MaNa can return the favor, so we'll see next couple of moments, maybe a couple of third base cancels, and then the game gets a little bit more intriguing as well. And obviously it's better for MaNa because he can cancel his, whereas Hellraiser would lose his. So a little bit of a money difference in terms of getting some back versus not at all. MaNa actually going to head for the natural. Okay, okay, cool. Right, all right.
Oh my god. That's a lot of dead probes. Hellraiser, so far, I would say, winning this particular base trade. Army supplies are very similar, and Hellraiser still has some extra cash being gathered. The Oracle that was, again, kind of gambled upon entered into a shield battery probe mineral line, so it didn't really matter, but it's full on base race anyways. So, yeah. 1 probe per MaNa, 46 for Hellraiser.
Yeah, there's definitely a probe difference. We'll obviously be able to kill a bunch more as MaNa still, but yeah, I mean, do you have any? I mean, MaNa has the 1 pylon top left on the map at the moment. His 1 probe's off to the far right side, and he does have money for a Nexus, so you can stay in the kind of base trade competitively for a while. But obviously, a Hellraiser with the probe count can just set up a base and sit on that base and force MaNa to fight into him, and that would be obviously very, very frustrating for MaNa to have to do that. So yeah, that's where Hellraiser really has control of this. In fact, Hellraiser's already building up batteries on the 3rd, so in fact, he's already back over here, so he's going to start fighting already. As the Oracles may give themselves up by mistake. MaNa has a little bit of an army supply lead. I'm just not sure it's enough. Blinks to the low ground. Now Hellraiser's going to jump on him, and now the battery's finished. I just don't think you can fight here, right?
No, he can. I'm actually kind of surprised he blinked to the low ground. Put him in a really awkward position. Put Blink off on cooldown. And then, right, the shield batteries were finishing. Hellraiser was able to react, and, well, I guess MaNa wasn't going to find very much more success in the main base, so it was kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. But MaNa is in a lot of trouble. Hellraiser did eventually lose a lot of probes, but still has enough to almost saturate a base. MaNa not the same, and an aggressive blink forward into the shield battery overcharge. Well, that doesn't work.
No,
Did it work?
I'm not sure, because he's one-shotting Stalker, so the overcharge hasn't really done much. Lifted a Phoenix as well to help. Loses the Phoenix now. Army supply, losing a couple extra Stalkers, and Hellraiser can warp Stalkers in. He has economy. I mean, that's the big difference. And he's repowered the gateways in the main base. He didn't even have to rebuild those. He just gets those set up once again. And I think that really does just mean that we've probably got ourselves a really tough position for MaNa. And Hellraiser, if he gets himself a first win, this is a very tough competitive group in terms of making it out and making playoffs. Every loss is going to mean a lot to you. I mean, this is the cool part of Swiss. Every match matters so much. And it really looks as though Hellraiser will have this very first important win on the board. Just needs to play this out, maybe get a little over-adventurous over here, but I think he's fine. He's always got the batteries to fall back to. And again, he's got Warpin still.
Yeah, I do love that MaNa still has his Oracle alive to kill some of these probes. Also a bit of a distraction, but MaNa is not making any headway on where it matters most, around the 3rd base. He's not killing enough Stalkers. He's not taking down the static defense. He's not killing probes there either. In fact, now officially losing that battle. Could have sworn he would have lost it earlier against the shield battery, but it was, as you said, still kind of okay because he was one-shotting. But now, down to how many Stalkers? 5 Stalkers versus 10. And 3 Nexus available for Hellraiser. Yeah, unfortunately for MaNa, he doesn't have any ace up his sleeve. There's nothing to work with.
No, there's nothing at all. Like, he's down in every single way. He's mining off the main. He's just going to type out GG's. It's going to be a very uninteresting final couple of moments, but it will be done.